Okay. My name is Kelvin. I'm here to perform my exterior pre-trip inspection. We start with the lights on the corner of the cab and the corner of the trailer. Those are my marker lights, which indicate height, width, length of the vehicle. The three lights in the center of the cab and the center of the trailer, those are my ID lights, which indicate a commercial vehicle. My directional signals, left and right, also uses my four-way emergency flashers. Headlights, high beam for the country, low beam for the city. Fog lights for foggy conditions only. I want to make sure my stop lights are working properly in the back. Inspections on my lights, all my lenses should be clean, not cracked or broken, not clean, cracked or broken. I'm checking for burnt out bulbs. Amber in the front, red in the rear. Amber is the color of caution. Then I go to my windshield. My windshield is clean, not cracked or broken, free of any scratches or illegal stickers. The weather seal around the window is not ripped or torn to prevent air and water from coming in. The wipers not cracked, broken, or missing any parts, in good working condition. The blades not ripped or torn, free of any debris to prevent scratches on the window. Then you walk up to the truck, you look under the truck, you tell the examiner you're inspecting for leaks. No leaks. You unhook the cab, you pull it open. We start on the passenger side, gentlemen. Now, I'm checking for 4 fluids. Come on in, girl. Come on in. I'm checking for 4 fluids. Oil, water, windshield washer fluid, and power steering fluid is on the other side. I want to make sure that all my reservoirs are not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. All the caps are tight and secure, none missing. I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. Then I go to my belts. Alternator, water pump, air compressor, power steering. When you do that motion, that let the examiner know you're talking about all your belts. Inspection of the belts. They should not be worn or torn, too tight or too loose. Too tight, you can break the bearings or any other parts connected to the belt. Too loose, they can slip and not work properly. Proper adjustment, that's when you guys walk up to the belt. Proper adjustment is 3/4 inch of play in the center of the belt in between the 2 pulleys. Then you go to the components of your belt. Alternator is tight and secure to the engine with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. No bare wires to prevent a short. Then you go to your water pump. Best way to find your water pump, you look for the biggest hose coming out of the radiator. It'll lead you to your water pump. So your water pump is tight and secure. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. Follow this hose. It'll lead you to your water pump back up in there. Every time you need to find your water pump, just find the biggest hose coming out of the radiator, okay? Let's go to the other side to finish off the last 2 components. Air compressor. Air compressor. It's tight and secure to the engine with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Air lines, free of any crack, cuts, or bulges. Clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for air leaks. This is your power steering reservoir. Follow this hose. It'll lead you to your power steering pump down there. Just find the point here. Your power steering is tight and secure to the engine with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Hose, free of any crack, cuts, or bulges. Clamps tight and secure. I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. Then we have 4 types of hoses. You can use your power steering hose as your oil. Then you have water, air. Your fuel line is underneath. Inspection of the hoses, they should be free of any crack, cuts, or bulges. Clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for leaks because of the air compressor, or I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. Then I go to my front suspension. My spring mount hanger. It's tight and secure to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Leaf springs is the full set, none missing, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Leaf strap. It's tight and secure around the leaf springs, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. U-bolts are not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It has its full set of nuts and bolts. The mounting pad is in its proper place, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The rubber stopper is to prevent metal-to-metal rubbing. Then I go to my shock absorber. My shock absorber is tight and secured to the chassis, full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. If the shock absorber leaking any grease or oil, that means it's bad and it needs to be replaced. Then I go to my steering rod. My steering rod should be no more than 2 inches of play. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, crooked, or bent. The U-joints are maintained, well lubricated. Steering box is tight and secured to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Hose, free of any crack, cuts, or bulges. Clamps tight and secure. I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. Then I go to my steering linkage. My steering linkage consists of 4 parts. Pitman arm, drag link, swing arm, and my tie rod end at the bottom down here. They should not be cracked, broken, or illegally welded. All joints maintained, well lubricated. Castle bolts are in its proper place, not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The cotter pin is going through the castle bolt, locked tight and secure. Then I go to my brake chamber. This is critical. Make sure you guys mention the adjusting nut on the brake chamber. The brake chamber is tight and secured to the axle with its full set of nuts and bolts. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Clamp going around the brake chamber, not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded, has its full set of nuts and bolts. Airline, free of any crack, cuts, or bulges, clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for leaks. Push rod is located in front of the brake chamber. It's not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Slack adjuster is not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Has the cotter pin going through it, locked tight and secure. Slack adjuster should be no more than 1 inch of play with the air brakes turned off. When adjusting, I will use a 9/16-inch wrench. I will turn the adjusting nut 1 full circle clockwise till it stops and another 1/4 inch back. When adjusting one, you adjust them all to brake evenly. Then I go to my brake drum. My brake drum is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. I'm looking for 2 powders. First powder, white. White powder indicates that the brakes are overheated and the fire extinguisher been used. Second powder, black. Black powder indicates that it's metal-to-metal rubbing. It should be no less than a 1/4 inch of life left on my brake pads. My inner axle seal, which is in the back, should not be leaking any grease or oil. If it is, that means the seal is bad and it needs to be replaced. Then I go to my steers. My steers is free of any crack, cuts, or bulges, free of any nails or screws to prevent a flat. Recaps are not permitted. Tire tread should be no less than 432 seconds of life left on them. Tire pressure should be between 85 and 100 psi or whatever the manufacturer recommends. When checking, I will use an air gauge. Rim and lug nuts. Rim, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Lug nuts is a full set and none missing, free of any rust. Rust indicates that the lug nuts are loose and they need to be tightened. My hub seal is tight and secure. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The hub seal should not be leaking any grease or oil. If it is, that means the seal is bad and it needs to be replaced. The valve stem is not touching the rim. It's not loose. I'm listening for air leaks. Then I go to my left side door. I want to make sure my door opens and closes properly. The weather seal around the door should not be ripped or torn to prevent air and water from coming in. My door latches is maintained, well lubricated. My door hinges are not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any rust. My mirror is tight and secured to the door. It's not cracked, broken. It's free of any scratches or illegal stickers. It's well adjusted. Then you talk about your your emergency compartment. Your emergency compartment consists of 3 things: 3 triangle reflectors, a fire extinguisher fully charged, up to date with the gauge reading on the green, cotter pin going through it locked tight and secure, clamp going around the fire extinguisher locked down tight and secure, and an extra pack of fuses. Then we go to our battery box. My battery box is tight and secure to the chassis. Full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It should be no less than 3 batteries. It should be clean terminals at all times. No bare wires to prevent a short. Then I go to my fuel tank. My fuel tank is strapped tight, secured to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's free of any dents. My crossover fuel line, you have here and you have here. My crossover fuel line is free of any crack, cuts, or bulges, clamps tight and secure. I'm checking for leaks underneath the ground of the truck. My fuel cap It's tight and secure. Rubber gasket not missing, and it has its proper T-chain. The strap is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The rubber strip between the strap and the tank should not be ripped or torn to prevent metal-to-metal rubbing. Then I go to my steps and catwalk. My steps are tight and secure to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. My steps and catwalk is free of any water, oil, or grease to prevent self-injuries. Then I go to my truck chassis and cross members. My truck chassis is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's not crooked or bent. The cross members is tight and secured to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Then I go to my drive shaft. My drive shaft is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's well centered. U-joints are maintained, well lubricated. U-joints in the front goes connected to the transmission. The transmission is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's tight and secured to the engine with its full set of nuts and bolts. The transmission should not be leaking any transmission fluid. Then I go U-joints in the rear goes connected to my differential. My differential is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's tight and secure with its full set of nuts and bolts. The differential should not be leaking any gear oil. If it is, that means it's bad and it needs to be replaced. Then I go to my exhaust. You have stack, muffler, elbow, and flex. My stack, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any black soot. Black soot indicate that it's leaking bad fumes. My muffler is clamped down tight and secure, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. My elbow is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any rust holes. Rust holes indicate that it's leaking bad fumes into the cab of the truck. My flex, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any rust holes. Rust holes indicate that it's leaking bad fumes into the cab of the truck. Then I go to my airlines and electric cables. Red is emergency, blue is service, black is electrical. My glad hand should not be cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Rubber gasket is in its proper place, not missing. I'm listening for air leaks. I want to make sure that my glad hands are properly connected from truck to trailer when hooked up. My airlines should not be too long or too short. Too long, they get tangled up in the drive shaft and get ruined. Too short, when you make a turn, they'll snap, your brakes automatically lock up. My airline's free of any crack, cuts, or bulges, clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for air leaks. My electric line, no bare wires to prevent a short. Then I go to my fifth wheel. My fifth wheel is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. If the fifth wheel is movable, it should be locked in place. My fifth wheel is tight and secured to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts. The platform is maintained, well lubricated, free of any illegal welds. The pickup apron is maintained, well lubricated, free of any illegal welds. A gap should not exist between the platform and skid plate when hooked up. The release arm should be in the lock position. The locking jaws must go around the kingpin. The locking jaws are not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Maintained, well lubricated. The kingpin is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Maintained, well lubricated. It's not crooked or bent in any way. Then I go to my drives. Same inspection I did on my steers, I will do on my drives, with the exception of 6 things. Would you like for me to do the full inspection? I'll give you the 6 differences. If they ask for the full inspection, then we're gonna do our spring mount hanger. It's tight and secured to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Leaf springs is a full set, none missing, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Leaf straps tight and secure around the leaf springs. It's not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. U-bolts are not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Has its full set of nuts and bolts. Mountain pad is in its proper place, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Rubber stopper is to prevent metal-to-metal rubbing. Then we go to our shock absorber. Our shock absorber is tight and secure to the chassis with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. If the shock absorber is leaking any grease or oil, that means it's bad and it needs to be replaced. Then we go to our brake chamber. Our brake chamber is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Our brake chamber is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Has its full set of nuts and bolts. It's tight, secure to the axle with its full set of nuts and bolts. Checking me out. The clamp going around the brake chamber is not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Has its full set of nuts and bolts. Airline free of any crack, cuts, or bulges. Clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for leaks. The push rod is located in front of the brake chamber. It's not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The slack adjuster is not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It should be no more than 2 inches of play with the air brakes turned off. When adjusting, I will use a 9/16-inch wrench. I will turn the adjusting nut 1 full circle clockwise till it stops and another 1/4 inch back. When adjusting one, you adjust them all to break evenly. Then I go to my drives. We have dual tires on the drives. We have a space. The space is free of any wood, bottle, trash, or etc. Then we have recaps. Recaps, they are permitted on the drives. Your tire tread should be no less than 32 seconds of life left on them. Your airbag is fully inflated. It's tight and secure. I'm listening for air leaks. Okay? That's it. Oh, no, it ain't. No, it ain't.
Yeah.
Rim.
Forgot the fucking bolt. Huh?
No, we're doing a full inspection. So you got to do the rim, you got to do the hub seal and lug nuts. So the rim is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Lug nuts is a full set, none missing, free of any rust. Rust indicate that the lug nuts are loose and they need to be tightened. The hub seal is tight and secure, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The hub seal should not be leaking any grease or oil. If it is, that means the seal is bad and it needs to be replaced. Now we go to our mud flap and stoplights. My mud flap is tight and secure. It's not crooked or bent. It's not too long, not too short. Too long, it get ruined. Too short, defeat its purpose. Proper length, 6 inches from the ground. If the mud flap has reflector tape, it should be clean, not ripped or torn or missing. Stoplights should be red in color. Lenses are clean, not cracked or broken. I'm checking for burnt out bulbs. Now, at that time, that'll be 67. You'll pass. But since I messed up, we will all continue. We go to the header board. The header board is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Full set of laminates and rivets. Light should be amber in color. Lenses are clean, not cracked, broken, or missing. I'm checking for burnt out bulbs. Side of the trailer is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Full set of laminates and rivets. Light should be amber in the front, red in the rear. Lenses should be clean, not cracked, broken, or missing. I'm checking for burnt out bulbs. Frame, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Crooked or bent in any way. Then I go to my landing gear. My landing gear is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The handle bring the legs up and down properly. The legs not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any rust. The handle should be in the lock position when in motion. Support brace not cracked, broken, or illegally welded, is tight and secure with its full set of nuts and bolts. The boot is not loose, cracked, broken, or illegally welded, free of any rust. The best way to find out if it's loose, you kick it. If it fall off, it's loose. If not, you good. Now we have our undercarriage. We have cross beams, floor panels, air lines, and electric cables. The cross beam is tight and secured to the frame with its full set of nuts and bolts, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. Floor panels are full set, none missing. If they're missing, they need to be replaced. Air lines and electric cable. Air lines free of any crack, cuts, or bulges, clamps tight and secure. I'm listening for leaks. Electric, no bare wires to prevent a short. Now, if they ask you guys where does air lines and electric cables go to, you tell them. The air lines go to the brake chamber out at the rears. The electric line goes to the lights back here. Okay? Now, we go to our rears. Same inspection I did on my drives, I will do on my rears with the exception of two things. Would you like for me to do the full inspection or give you the two differences? They're going to ask for the two differences. The two differences, torque bar. The torque bar is not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. The torque bar has its full set of nuts and bolts. The torque bar is used to keep the truck in a straight line and it's also used as a weight stabilizer. The second difference, slack adjuster, 1 inch of play. Then we go to the back of the trailer. I want to make sure the door opens and closes properly. When closed, it should be locked tight and secure. License plate is clean, fully visible, and is up to date. Stop lights should be red in color. Lenses are clean, not cracked or broken. I'm checking for burnt out bulbs. Mud flaps should be tight and secure. It's not too long, not too short. Too long, it get ruined. Too short, defeat its purpose. Proper length, 6 inches from the ground. If the mud flap has reflective tape, it should be clean, not ripped or torn or missing. DOT bar, not cracked, broken, or illegally welded. It's not crooked or bent in any way. If the DOT bar has reflective tape, it should be clean, not ripped or torn or missing. At this time, this concludes my exterior pre-trip inspection. Would you like for me to continue? They're going to say no, because that's more than enough points to pass. All right.